The first thing you're going to ask me is, Noel, why are you holding up $2 bills and what do they possibly have to do with user generated content? Back in the days, the prehistoric era, before the interwebs, there was a saying, phony as a $3 bill. And that basically meant that something was, a scam or not true. Well, in my youth, there was a period of 10 years, I believe it was, that the $2 bill stopped being printed. And as a result of the $2 bill no longer being available, that saying, phony is a $3 bill, started to get mixed up. And people began to say phony is a $2 bill because it wasn't real anymore. And to this day, folks will often confuse those two phrases and say phony is a $2 bill. So I love my $2 bills. I keep them in my wallet as good luck. But they weren't always a symbol of good luck. In fact, they were the reverse. They were the symbol of bad luck for many reasons. But one of them was that rigged elections, if there is such a thing, were often accomplished by offering people $2 to cast a phony vote. So the $2 bill became the reward for voting fraud. And that was one of the reasons why it was looked down upon in some ways, because if you happen to have one with you, you might be somebody who got paid to cast a phony vote. So that brings us to the user-generated content idea. While it's nothing new, and organically it's existed for quite some time since the advent of social media, the idea of user-generated content as a job for an actor is relatively new. Up until this point, it's been organically created by actual users of the company's product who decided they liked it so much that they wanted to go onto TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever and rave about this new product they bought and tell people how cool it is. That sort of unsolicited review became very valuable to these companies who realized that's an actual user who likes our product and they're generating sales for us. So it morphed from just organic people talking about products on the internet into an actual marketing technique being utilized by these companies where they would begin to try to encourage this social media discussion of their products by offering prizes or making contests. For example, Starbucks ran a Christmas contest maybe more than once where they asked people to submit photos of themselves using, holding the Christmas cups. And this user-generated content became material that they could repurpose in their advertising campaigns. So cut to the present day, we have seen a rise in these companies that are offering to create user-generated content, UGC, for their clients. And that would be great. It would be another opportunity for an actor to make some money portraying one of these users and demonstrating the product in use. It's essentially getting hired to produce a commercial, right? Maybe not. The basic problem that I have, and the reason for this rant in the first place, is that a lot of these agencies, these companies that are hiring actors to do these user-generated content clips, are not located in the United States. And therefore, they are essentially exploiting young actors, struggling actors, people who feel like, this is an opportunity to make a little extra money by offering incredibly low payment for this job. And I'm talking, if you're lucky, you might make $80 or less. It's just unbelievably low payment for the amount of work they're asking you to do. I work as crew on the other side of the camera. I'm not just an actor. And when I'm working as crew, I can often go out on a job to New York City, for example, and we'll be filming an interview with corporate executives at their office in New York. A very small crew. It might be me as grip and electric, handling the lighting and the stands and everything. It might be the producer cinematographer who's kind of in charge of the whole job and he's doing the camera work and interviewing the person, just overseeing the entire thing and directing it. So producer, director, cameraman, all bundled up in one, otherwise known as a predator, a producer editor. He might also be running his own sound, but he might have hired a sound guy. So there might be two guys there, producer and sound, me for grip and electric. They might have a hair and makeup person to do the hair and the makeup of the people that are being interviewed. There might be someone running a teleprompter. There could be somebody there who is a production assistant. That's a very, very small crew, but already you're talking 4 or 5 people and thousands of dollars worth of wages. Thousands. Imagine a large film set. You have your own hair and makeup department. You have your own wardrobe department. You have special effects departments. You have grip and electric, 2 separate departments. You have producer, you have director, you have editor, you have cameraman, you have sound guy. There's so many different people working on a film that are all getting paid. So these UGC people come along and they ask you, the actor, to do all of those jobs. You now have to be the producer, you have to be the director, you have to be the talent, you have to be the sound guy, you have to be the editor, you have to be the hair and makeup artist, you have to be the location scout and figure out where you're going to film this thing. They're asking you to do all these jobs and send them a finished clip that they can then use as a product. And they're going to pay you $80 to do this? The other thing about these UGC jobs that kind of irritates me is that the agreements they send out to the actors often include other language that the actor may not be fully aware of at first, such as, we may ask you to do repeats of the video if it doesn't come out right the first time, and we're not going to pay you any more to do those repeats. And sometimes they put a cap on it, and sometimes they don't. But even if they do, they might say up to 3 redos. So now they're paying you $80 to do 3 videos. So you're making $25 a video all of a sudden because you have to do the same job 3 times in a row. What if they don't put a cap on it and they make you do that job 10 times over? It's costing you money at this point to do that job. Also, some of these companies actually penalize the actor. If the clip doesn't work out the way they want it to the first time around, they tell the actor, well, now we're going to pay you less money. We're not going to send you the full $80 because you have to redo it for us. So it's even worse. They're charging you money now to work for them. Just a bit more background on these UGC companies. It's a huge industry, and according to the reports, is set to reach $16.4 billion in revenues in 2022. $16.4 billion in revenue from user-generated content advertising. I think they have enough money to pay their actors. As a result, over 70% of marketers have plans to increase their influencer marketing budget, their UGC marketing money. 70% of the companies that are advertising plan to increase the amount of money they spend on user-generated content advertising. Now, my guess is because it's so exploitative, they can get it for cheap. So of course they're going to do something that gets them big benefits and costs them very little money. Statistics show that 48% of consumers prefer to follow creators that look like everyday people. What that tells me is that almost half of the consumers in the entire market prefer to get their recommendations for product usage from people that look like them and sound like them and seem like normal folk. That means that UGC content is incredibly valuable to these advertisers. Valuable enough that they should pay their actors a decent amount of money to do this stuff. Running ads from a creator's social media handle has been reported to perform better than traditional ads by 20 to 50%. Now think about this from a corporate guy's standpoint. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on traditional advertising done by, full-blown marketing companies and ad agencies that are charging a lot of money. And this stuff that costs very much less is outperforming it by 20 to 50%. I think they have the money to spend on their actors. Perhaps that's why 80% of consumers are more likely to buy products that are recommended by creators. Again, As I mentioned earlier, these companies see value in this because they realize that folks are interested in listening to people who look and sound like them and seem like it's being recommended to them by a friend, somebody they can trust. 80% of consumers. It's very valuable to these companies. I think they can pay their actors. According to Forbes, more than 86% of companies are using some type of UGC, user-generated content, in their marketing strategy. 86% of companies. That's a vast majority of the companies that are spending money on advertising. I think they have the money to pay their actors. I understand that a lot of actors look at it as an opportunity to make a little bit of extra money to do something they love to do. And maybe they're going to get a free product out of it too. The company will send them something to use and they get to keep. I get it. But there are legitimate user-generated content jobs out there that pay thousands of dollars to the actor and also include usage fees. If the commercial gets aired many, many times, you get more money. But not with these little companies from overseas that are doing these really cheap exploitative UGC jobs. Your value is determined by only one thing: you.
I want my $2.
You determine your own worth as an actor, as a performer. You decide what jobs are worthwhile and what jobs are not. You decide your value. If you accept these jobs that exploit you and require you to do a lot of extra jobs and wear many hats, put in a lot of time, and you accept them for very little money, you have just placed your value at a much lower standard than you would probably like it to be. Because this particular video is more of a rant than anything else, I can't give you any advice or help you make a decision about these types of jobs. Ultimately, it's up to you. If you think it's got value and you think it's worth your time and effort and something you want to do for practice and for a little bit of money they're paying, so be it. As I said before, you determine your own worth, and you are worth more than $2. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel. And remember, if you want to join a bunch of your fellow actors who are serious and dedicated and will motivate you to keep doing the work, please visit actorsfeedbackforum.com. Link in the description. See you next video.